Have I broken it?
She might have broken her foot.
God, okay, I will do a story time on how I broke my foot in a Red Bull competition in Europe. 3.5 weeks ago, I competed in a competition where I was racing across Europe. The competition was called Red Bull Can You Make It? If you don't know what it is, go look up my page. I've explained it 1,000 times. We had 7 days to get from Budapest to Berlin with no cash, no card, no phone. Our only currency was Red Bull cans. So I broke my foot in Venice, Italy on the second full day of the competition. Now remember, we got all the way from Budapest to Venice, Italy in a day and a half. We were killing it. After all, Red Bull Can You Make It was a competition. There was 300 teams and we were placed 7th at this point, okay? We were doing pretty damn well. So we arrive in Venice. We do our check. Our checkpoint is racing a gondola through the canals of Venice. The second we finished, we realized if we got to Switzerland that night, it means we would have gotten another checkpoint done and would have put us in first place by a hot minute. So I'm like, guys, let's start running. Now, if you don't been to Venice like me, the cobblestones are insane. So as we're running, I tripped slightly. I self-correct my foot, and then unfortunately my big ass backpack swung down. My foot stayed on the pavement, but my ankle completely snapped over and went. Now, I've broken a lot of bones in my time. I kind of instantly knew that I did it, but I wasn't letting myself think that. I didn't cry once because we were so close where we completed the checkpoint. Nathan stayed with me and Nonya ran back to get something from Red Bull. Red Bull was amazing. That was a comment I got a lot of the time. Someone called an ambulance. We didn't call an ambulance. Look, I broke my femur and I got chucked in the back of the U. I was like, let's not waste an ambulance. Probably should have. With Venice being a walking city, turns out the ambulance is a boat. On the way to the hospital, the very good looking paramedic turns to me and she says, I wouldn't go to this hospital. I was like, what? So this is the foot brace that I was given. She was like, take this brace, leave. So as I was at the hospital, I sent Nathan and Nonya out. I was like, okay, go get me every bit of strapping tape you can find. If you can't find a moon boot, at the very least, go get me crutches. Apparently that was a mission from Mars. We go into the ED. It was hell. There was a guy throwing up blood next to me. He had been there for 24 hours and he hadn't been admitted yet. At this point, I decided with myself, I want to continue. Nathan and Nonya were incredible. They were doing nothing but supporting me and they were so willing to bow out then and then with me. And I knew if I did, they would have been amazing about it. But we'd already come so far. We hadn't slept. Honestly, we had been through hell already. Or so I thought. I feel like if you're an athlete, you're gonna get it. Physical pain I can do. I know that. That's my bread and butter. If I had a stomach bug, shoot me in the street. Nuh-uh, could not do it. And I knew it was gonna hurt, but I just couldn't give up there. Hour 5, I decided to pull myself out of the hospital and continue the race. It wasn't just a decision for me to make either. Nathan and Anya also had to decide to do it because I couldn't wait there. Nathan and Anya had to carry all the gear. Anya had all the Red Bull, Nathan had all the bags. I hate saying this because it does sound really dramatic, but getting out of Venice was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life. For all three of us admit that. I think it was the hardest physical thing I've ever done. We hadn't eaten, we hadn't slept at this point. We were already at the point of breaking our bodies before this happened. It was then midday in Venice, one of the busiest walking cities in the entire world, boiling hot, and we just had to haul out. It's cobblestones, it's bridges, it's small stairs. It was not easy. I'm so incredibly proud of the boys and honestly myself for pulling through that because it was hard. It was very hard. And we did it because we were amazing. So then we're like, oh, we're on a high. Our plan was, okay, I still need to go to the hospital. I still need medical treatment and we had to keep moving. So the checkpoints we could go to were all around Europe, but every single day got smaller. Think of like the dome from Fortnite, okay? It closes in. So we needed to get moving up. And we were at the bottom of the map at this point. So like, okay, we want to go to Switzerland. Let's stay the night in Milan. Milan, I have beef. Milan, I hate you. We get the 4-hour train ride to Milan. And remember at this point, I have a broken foot in 4 places. I have also torn all the ligaments and ruptured everything in my foot. I've had no medical care and no pain medication. But honestly, our spirits were high. We're having a fun time and then we get to Milan. The big issue that we had in Milan was we caught the last train to this hostel. The trams and trains then stopped. This hostel was the #1 sponsor of the event. Every other chain around Europe let people have a bed because Red Bull reserved 4 rooms in every single chain in Europe, but not everyone who worked there was briefed. So there were rooms available for the Red Bull people. If they couldn't give you the room, at the very least, they were meant to let you stay in the lobby. In 2 other hostel chains across Europe, we slept in the lobby on the floor. So we finally get there. Remember, we have no way to leave this extremely dangerous area that we're in. And the manager threatened to call the police on us. He was disgustingly rude and unkind. And if I ever see you, it's on site, big guy. So it's approaching on 1:30 in the morning. We had no plans. We also didn't know the area we were in was extremely dangerous. So we ran into a little bit of issues on the streets. Tried a few other hostels. The police were called. People were getting robbed left, right, and center. And then there was an ambulance that was left because the person who was in it escaped because they were a wanted fugitive. So I was like, hey, can I jump in? So we go to this hospital. First of all, the wheelchair they give me was covered in blood. Boys stay in the waiting room, which isn't normal procedure overnight. Go through, the doctor doesn't speak a lick of English, but they did get across to me. Our x-ray machine is broken. Sick. I explained the competition to the nurse who spoke English. She translated to the doctor, and the doctor was like, no. Do you know what they put on me? They put on fluff. So I came to have a compromise. I was like, can we tape my shoe into my foot? That way I can at least walk. I can't continue the competition like this. No. So I was discharged from the hospital and we couldn't stay in the waiting room, but there was a waiting room for like smokers. It was undercover and it was locked. So we were kind of like, we're just gonna stay in here. I didn't feel incredibly safe. It was freezing. We had no camping gear, no blankets, no pants. So Nathan slept on a bench. I slept under Nathan. I put every single pair of socks I had on my hands because they were so cold. Every t-shirt and tank top that I had. And then the morning security guard came to kick us out and I'm there trying to open my eyes and it's not working. At this point, we were feeling pretty low. Anya, the absolute champ, found a chemist that had a bunch of strapping tape. It was finger tape. So we got a bunch of rolls of that. Thank goodness to the guy in the street that helped us get that. I'm not feeling great, but I'm not willing to affect my spirits. We then made our way to Switzerland. Not only did I go cliff jumping in -2 water, which was so beautiful. First time I've washed this entire trip, and the ice water felt so good on the foot. We then ran into an ortho. Bless his cotton socks, gave me this bad boy, a walking moon boot. And even though there were rumors that I pulled out, I didn't. And we made it all the way, and out of 300 teams, we came 30th. Now, we were technically a media team, so we couldn't officially place, aka we couldn't win the top prize, but we came 30th out of 300. We lost an entire day in the hospital. We missed out on one of the checkpoints the last day because we got into a major bus crash. Everyone was okay. Because you know what? Never back down, never what? Never back down, never what?